Hello, hello. This is V. I'm inspired to make this video to talk to you today about my Monday night healing gathering called Tending to the Inner Garden. I'm so happy. This is Tuesday. We had one last night. And I'm just so grateful for the space to connect with the community and to create a healing container where we can come together and use our resources, our inner resources, to create a healing container. So I feel very blessed and very honored to get to facilitate it. So I wanted to share a little bit of what it is, why I decided to have it, and to invite you to join us, whether you can commit to joining us every Monday or whenever you're available. It's really a consistent space, and what's consistent is the fact that every Monday, whether anyone shows up or not, I will be there, I will be meditating, I will be creating that container. And however many people show up, I am equipped to work with them, whether it's one person or 150 people, which I have held space for 150 people or more in meditation. So I look forward to whoever shows up, and you're invited. One thing that I wanted to share about last night's gathering and the previous one was the coming together to intentionally create the container. One thing that we do at the beginning of tending to the inner garden is that each person is invited to connect to their soul or their highest self. Your highest self is the most evolved part of you. It's the part of you that's made in the image and likeness of God. I like to think of it as the sun, that it doesn't matter how cloudy it is. It doesn't matter what's going on here on earth. The sun is always shining. The sun is consistent and it's unwavering. So there's a part of us that's very similar. It's our soul. It's untouched by any of our drama, any of our wound, by anything that has happened to us. And we can actually embody that light. We can embody our unique soul signature, our unique essence. So this is the basis for my work, is the embodiment of our highest self, the embodiment of our essence, this part of us that is multidimensional, that is connected to the divine, that is capable of healing, capable of restoration. And when we come together, it's all of our highest selves that are contributing to the building of the container. So we consciously connect, and then I invite each participant to connect to a divine attribute or more that they want to add to the container. So it could be grace, it could be joy, it could be peace, it could be love, it could be mercy. It is whatever is present at the moment for each person, and then we know that these are the attributes that are weaving this basket, this space, this healing space that we are in. And one thing that I not only believe but know within my being is that when we are connected to the source, when we are connected to the part of us that is connected to source, to God, that this light is greater than any of our wounds. And so in this container, it doesn't matter what shows up, that as long as one of us is deeply connected, we can hold space for it. And so then we get to connect to the body and see what is announcing itself, what is ready to be processed, what is the intention that we have to heal. And so each person gets to share one thing or two things that are announcing themselves. And then we go on this journey together to connect and to heal. So during the tending to the inner garden, I also do a lecture uh, on healing. So like last night, I got to talk about the liver meridian and Chinese medicine, and how when the liver meridian is out of balance, it can impact our emotions. And also when we have emotions that are so big, so unprocessed, that are too much for us, that lasts a long time, that are suppressed, that they can also impact the meridians. They can also impact the flow of energy in the body. So we got um, to talk about anger and resentment and unforgiveness and depression. Depression is repressed anger for the most part. We got to talk about the embodiment of no. So anger is usually the way of expressing no. And so we got to talk about that, and stress, and how stress can impact the liver. And then from the lecture, which is really a conversation, then more things came up. And one thing that really announced itself to work on was working with the wound of the absent father. And so from there, we go into an embodied meditation and really connecting with our light, with the highest self. We had a beautiful meditation, and the meditation will never be the same each week, because um, when I'm doing it, I'm connecting to source, I'm connecting to my highest self, I'm connecting to the other highest self, and I'm keeping in mind the different attributes that we all brought to the container, and the different wounds that announce themselves to be healed. So it's never the same, and that excites me. And having worked with people over the year in groups and one-on-one, I love this work. When I get to facilitate, especially if I'm working one-on-one with each person, it's like someone is trusting me to drive their vehicle. And so it's each console is different. So maybe this time I'm driving a Corolla, next time it's a VW, next time it's a bicycle, next time maybe it's a spaceship. And so to have had the experience of working with people, and 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 just holding that space and being familiar with the consoles is so much fun for me. So I'm very grateful to be able to do this work. And one thing that has unfolded naturally is that at the end of the meditation, there are other divine attributes that announces themselves, and that's usually how I close the container. So like last night, we opened the container with um, joy and laughter and music. And what was the other one? There was another attribute. So we had these attributes opening the container. And as we were closing the container, what announced itself was abundant love, as well as self-acceptance. So the quality of acceptance. So we closed the container, and now this week we're walking with those attributes, and just presencing. Oh, and also beauty. Oh, I love the divine quality of beauty, and just connecting to the beauty that we are. Like, our souls are so beautiful, and we often forget who we are. So whenever we are deeply connected to a wound, or maybe not that deeply, when we're in our wounds, we forget. And so when we connect to our essence, we can remember who we are. And when we work with someone, with a facilitator, with a healer, spiritual teacher, a counselor, oftentimes what they're doing is really remembering our wholeness and remembering who we are and guiding us back to the truth of who we are. So we get to do that every week. We get to remember who we are, and then we're not afraid to go into whatever is showing up, whatever wound, whatever is seeming darkness. And when those show up from working with people over the years, some of the parts of ourselves that we hide, that we are the most ashamed of, when we allow them to show up in an environment of grace, of love. What I love with grace is that with grace, all is welcome. There's no judgment, and it's come as you are. A lot of time, we want to fix things first. So it's kind of like if you're having a cleaning person coming to the house and you want to fix things before they come in to clean. And so we do that with God, with divinity. We do that with spirituality, where we feel like, well, I gotta like present myself a certain way. And then to me, with true spirituality and having the presence of grace, it's no, come as you are. There's no judgment, and knowing that whatever shows up, there's so much love, there's so much grace here. And what I love with this type of work is that oftentimes the parts of ourselves that are the most hidden, suppressed, that we think are dark, that we're ashamed of, when they get exposed to love, to grace, to acceptance, they often transform to some of our most beautiful parts. Whenever we've gotten hurt, whether it was the abandonment of a parent or in a relationship or a job or something, and then there's a part of us that is so wounded that it it changes our nature, or maybe now we feel like it's not safe to love, it's not safe to laugh, it's not safe to dance, it's not safe to be too friendly. And so we maybe take on, this part takes on this other face, this mask to protect us. And then when we remember the truth of who we are, these are often our most beautiful, most loving, most sensitive parts of ourselves. And we get to like bathe them in love and grace and mercy. Mercy I love so much. I love working with the frequency of mercy, because mercy is really for the parts of us that actually have chosen to disconnect from the light. That maybe someone hurt us and then we chose to disconnect, and we chose to now hurt them back or hurt others. And so the moment we choose to reconnect, so much healing, so much love was always there waiting. Mercy is like God waiting with open arms for us. It has so much power to restore. And however, what it requires is the humility to admit that I did disconnect, I did choose differently, and then the wisdom to choose again. So it's really humility and wisdom, and using your will to choose again. So I love working with mercy, and it's just so immediate when we can first admit those things about ourselves, that, oh yeah, I did disconnect, i did I did choose differently. And when we're working together, those parts will just show up, whether we hurt another or whether they have hurt us. And if we've been hurt, then we get to work with grace, that there's so much grace, so much restoration is available for these deeply wounded parts of us. And then where we have wounded others, there's so much mercy available. And then we get to see the transformation, like, oh, these were always our most beautiful aspects, and then we integrate them, and then there's more light, there's more love, there's so much more that's available. So the reason I decided to create the circle is because I've had to walk this path. I've had to heal, like, physically. I'll share with you that in October, I had a crisis, and like physical crisis, where I went to the doctor, and my TSH for my thyroid was 23.6, and it's supposed to be between 0.5 and 4.5. And back in July, it was 2.2. It was normal. And so 2 months later, it was so elevated. So I had a serious trauma that happened in July. And I can't wait to share the story of what happened in July. I'm still integrating a lot of what happened. And I want to be able to share it so that I can talk about it and not cry. And I think I'm at the place now where I can talk about it and not cry. And I want to go beyond that. I'm choosing to transmute it with a lot of humor. And so humor is, for me, is a divine quality. It's a healer. It's a tool of transmission. So I want to be able to infuse it with humor when I talk about it. And so this is my story. It's my trauma, and I've owned it. I'm owning it, and I want to share it. I really do want to share it, and I want to share it when I'm ready. So I had this medical trauma that happened in July, and then consequently 2 months later, it impacted my thyroid. So when that happened, I wanted to do a full thyroid panel. So a week later, I did a full test, a full panel, and my TSH was even higher. It was 93.6. So when the thyroid is underactive, it causes all sorts of symptoms, including brain fog and fatigue. And I remember seeing those numbers, and I remember feeling just so tired and discouraged because I had to use all of my strength to deal with July. So now this is October. And I was just like, oh my God, I have the knowledge. I know how to treat a patient, but now this time it was me, and then I had brain fog. I was tired. And I remember before this whole thing, maybe around May, I changed all of my handles, like on Instagram, TikTok. I got the domain name to Living Fully. And I wanted to really embrace this concept of living fully. So when I first got the domain, I was going to get to Living Beautifully. And I thought, well, life is not always beautiful, and it doesn't have to be, but we can choose to live fully so that no matter what shows up, we are living, we are here, and we are in it fully. And so that's when I got this, and that was my plan. The day I got sick in July was actually the day that I was getting the key for a different office. I was going to be in Hollywood. Now I'm in Sunrise, West Sunrise. I still have the key and access to Hollywood, but I don't think I have capacity nor the desire to be in two places. I'd rather be in one office. I've had two locations before, and it can be such a pain because you have to make sure, like maybe I need something and it's in one location and not the other. So I was getting the day I was getting the key for that location is when I got sick. And I was so excited because I was looking forward to promote this whole living fully. And that's actually what helped me with my own healing, because when July happened, I was like, well, this is life. I'm going to embrace this fully. However, by the time October happened, I'm like, oh my God, life, like how much more do I have to embrace? Because now it's like I have to turn this thyroid thing around, and I'm dealing with fatigue and brain fog. What helped me is remembering all of the patients I have helped over the years. I've been working with patients for 2 decades now, over 2 decades. And I remember one thing that I always tell my patients is that the body is obedient. If we take care of the body, if we give the body what it needs, it will respond. And so I would think of certain patients and cases that I wasn't even sure if I should be working with this person. Like, I've had patients that should be on dialysis, and then they'll say, well, my doctor said I can work with you for a month or for 2 months. And I'm like, uh, you know, but they're so like determined to heal, like this the strength of the human spirit. And I say, okay, let's do it. And then like 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, a month, 2 months, 2 months later, this everything just completely turned around. So I've witnessed that. I've witnessed miracle. In fact, I was working in the realm of miracle for so long that now I don't even want to work in that realm anymore. And that's part of this whole tending to the garden, that I want to promote this idea of slowly, like every day, every week, we tend to our inner garden instead of waiting for when we have a crisis to do something about it. So I was working with a population that used to wait until things were so bad, and then that's when they're like, I know you can help me. um and then I was witnessing medical miracles all the time, and so that helped me. So I said, okay, I'm gonna do this. I know I can do it. Let me practice everything that I know. And I would like start, I put myself on certain protocols, and then maybe 3 days later I remembered to add something else, and I remembered to add something else, and made changes to my diet. I stopped eating gluten. I was never a dairy person, but I also wasn't like strictly dairy free. I never liked milk since I was a kid, but if something was baked with dairy, I didn't have a problem with it. And so I was just naturally dairy free, gluten free, egg free. Gluten was harder for me than egg or dairy. And then I didn't realize that my body actually didn't like the dairy until the new year. I had cremas, and cremas is a Haitian holiday drink. And well, we could have it year round, but it was a holiday, and it's milk based and also coconut milk based. And then I ended up feeling, the first week of January, I felt the way I felt back in October. And so I realized, okay, my body doesn't like dairy. And then I actually Googled, you can make vegan cremas. So I actually made a vegan cremas and love it. So we don't have to, even as we're shifting, and we're we're finding out the things that our body's letting us know that it doesn't like, we can create alternatives. It doesn't have to be so strict. And so I really connected to two things, to this idea of to living fully. And every day I would wake up and I would tell my body, I am choosing life. I'm choosing to live fully. I choose life. I choose joy. I choose love. I choose peace. And just like talking to my body. And then I connected again to hope, because when I saw that 93.6, I felt discouraged. So discouragement is the opposite of courage. And so my full name, or my first name, Valency, actually means courage. And so I realized, oh, I'm not living up to my name. I felt discouraged, so I allowed myself to be with the discouragement. And then I realized, oh, I actually could use some courage and I could use hope. And so I started connecting to hope. And the hope was the privilege of having witnessed the transformation of my patients. And every day I kept taking my supplements and taking my medications, um, making changes to my diet, mainly restricting um, the the things that I know were not good for me, and then also remembering what my body loved. Back in 2020, during the pandemic, I ate predominantly fruitarian, and my body loved that. And so I knew that for me, a predominantly fruitarian is what my body likes. So I ate a lot of fruits. I just would eat fruits, and then I would only eat cooked food if my body asked for it. And for the most part, when my body asked for cooked food, I would eat vegan food. But I also didn't have like additional restrictions. So if I ate something that had meat, it wasn't the end of the day. I trusted myself um, to choose fruits mainly, to choose plant-based. But I didn't give myself a title. I didn't say, oh, I'm vegan, I'm not eating this, I'm not eating that. But I was committed to removing the gluten. And now I'm committed to removing dairy. And I'm loosely committed to the eggs. I don't really eat eggs anyway, and then I did eat it recently. I felt okay, so I don't think my body has a strong reaction to eggs the same way it does to dairy or to gluten. And so I try not to add additional restrictions if I don't need to, and then listen to the body. And one thing that I also did was to connect to the rhythm and cycle of my own body. And so for me, it was my menstrual cycle. So I would connect to my body so that if I was premenstrual and my body wanted to eat more cooked food and wanted to eat more food, I would eat more food. I would eat more cooked food. And if I didn't want to eat cooked food and I could go 3 days of eating fruits and cleansing my body, then I worked with my body. I wouldn't go on a cleanse and a strict diet like the day before my period or during my period. So I decided to follow the cycle of my body. So one thing that happened also between July and October is that I gained 21 pounds. So when I made, actually, I gained 23 pounds. So when I made those changes between um, October and November, I lost 15 pounds. So my body responded to it. And I remember when I shared with my nurse practitioner, who's very holistic, um, that I was eating mostly fruits. She freaked out. She thought I should have more salad. But I know my body, and I know that I'm from the Caribbean. I grew up in Haiti eating lots of fruits. I know how my body feels with fruits. So I trusted that. So maybe for someone living in a cold climate, that would not be appropriate. And so I just listened to my body, and it worked. And then between October and now, I've lost a total of 21 pounds. So this is all throughout the holiday. This is Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year. And so I share all of that with you to share that I know what it feels like to be on a healing journey. I know the challenges, and I also know the tools, those divine attributes that have helped me, like acknowledging the discouragement, but calling on courage. And courage is of the heart. Like the root word for courage is heart. And so just connecting to the heart and remembering who I am, remembering what my name means. And then and also committed to living fully. So part of what I did with the to living fully was actually celebrating my birthday. So if you were looking at my social media, you would not believe me if I told you that my TSH was in the 90s, because I still went and celebrated my birthday with friends. I was still dancing. The next week, I went to an outdoor concert. I wanted my body to remember who I am. I went to dancing in the streets of Little Haiti with a Gaga band. I wanted my body to remember, like, I am choosing life. We are Haitian. We're from the Caribbean. We're lively people. I'm out here dancing in the street. Like, I don't know where you got this idea that I wasn't that I should be sick, but I'm letting you know, body, that I am celebrating, I'm choosing life, I'm choosing joy, I'm choosing connection. And I was really I'm lucky in that sense that I have a lot of really good friends and loved ones and family. So I was every weekend connecting with somebody. So if you saw my social media, if I did this video back then, you probably wouldn't believe me. You would be like, well, she's dancing, and this is why we shouldn't be jealous of people. I've been saying this for so long that, like, don't be jealous of people on social media. Be inspired. And so the reason I share my videos, I share my joy. I love to share the beauty and the joy and the serenity, because that's the truth of me. That's my soul signature. This is my gift to humanity. So when I incarnated, when I showed up to this planet, this is what I came to bring. So it's like, I'm here and this is my gift. So I'm not here to give you my wounds. I will share with you, like I'm sharing with you what happened with the thyroid. I will share these stories with you, usually after I've transmuted them, so that you know, oh, this is what it takes. It doesn't mean that I was doing that alone. I have so much support system that I was never alone in that journey. And then my support system, they knew. So they knew what it meant when they saw me dancing. They knew it was a TSH of 93.6 dancing. And then for someone else, maybe it's like, oh, I can't stand her. Oh, she's so happy. It's like, you are jealous of somebody with a TSH of 93.6. Do you want that? Like, what are you jealous of? And so, like, ah. So I always think of that, because it's like we get so jealous when we see people and their joy. It's like, yes, that joy, it's mine. It's true. It is mine. I embody it. But there are also challenges. And then you have access to that same joy. You can actually connect. And that's really what I'm teaching. It's like, how do we get you to connect to your own soul's true essence? How do we get you to bring these divine qualities so that when we see you, you are radiating your soul, you are radiating who you are, and then using that to transmute these challenges, and then maybe we could come together and we do it together. And so, yeah, so if you see me dancing, I want you to be inspired that you could dance your way through healing, because that's what I chose to do. I was like, I don't know what is going on, but this is what I'm choosing. This is my truth. I am choosing joy. I am choosing life. And it worked, because last night, after facilitating the tending to the inner garden, I got an email that I had new blood work, new test results from Quest, and I checked, and my TSH is 2.24. And back in July, it was 2.2. So it's back to where it was in July. The body can be healed. We can transform our body. We can heal ourselves. And we don't have to wait until we have the perfect result to start something like tending to the healing garden. So if I was waiting, let's say if I was like, oh, but I can't facilitate for people, I'm dealing with my own stuff. No, let's heal together. Let's connect. Let's bring these light codes, and let's intentionally heal together. Let's walk this path together. So I wanted to share that with you so that you have a sense of what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and that I also really, really want people not to be intimidated by healing and healers and wellness spaces. Self place is really a place where all is welcome. Not just my stuff. So if there's something else going on, like I'm a student at Self Place, I go to yoga, the most amazing yoga classes. I used to have resistance to yoga. I love Tai Chi. I love Qigong from Chinese medicine. I also got to study Ayurveda. So yoga is from India, from Ayurvedic medicine. And for some reason, I just used to have so much resistance. But I also think it's because I was exposed to these things when I was younger. And when I was younger, what I connected with were high energy, high impact things like running and dancing and kickboxing. And I had the energy for it. And now that I'm well into my 40s, I'm 43 now, and I'm like, oh yeah, slower. When I was doing Tai Chi, that was 20 years ago when I first got exposed to Tai Chi. Oh no, 21 or 22 years ago when I first got exposed to Tai Chi. And it was like the slower, the better, slower. I did it, but it was like, I didn't need that. Not the same way now in my 40s. I'm like, oh yeah, slower. Let's slow things down. And so when I go to yoga at Self Place, it's like, oh yeah, let's connect to the intention. Like all is welcome. Let's bring it to the mat. Let's surrender. So on Wednesday, there's Raja Yoga. It's Yin Yoga. It's all about surrendering to the pose, surrendering to the mat. And you just bring everything. And then one thing I love with this yoga class is that somewhere in like halfway through, there's always like some type of download or a new awareness that comes through, some quality of the divine. Maybe like I started with something on my mind and I had this specific intention, and then halfway through it's like, oh, beauty. And it's like, oh, I'm connecting to the beauty of my soul, or oh, mercy, or truth. Oh, I'm embodying truth. And so like I love these things now. And so I think for me, like the slower things are what I resonate with. And it could also have been that I was dealing with the thyroid and everything was slower. Maybe now I'll start jogging again. I did get to jog on my birthday. So the day of my birthday, despite everything, I had so much energy and I jogged and I loved it, but I've just been walking and taking things slow and not forcing my body to do something that it's not ready to do. But I'm definitely a high impact, high energy person as well. So yeah, so now with the TSH of 2.4, beautifully normal, I could start jogging again. And so what I wanted to share with the yoga class is that it's really a space where all is welcome. You're welcome to come as you are. There's grace in that space. And so a lot of time we have ideas of maybe like we have Instagram ideas of what someone who does yoga should look like or behave like, or that lifestyle, or someone who's into healing. And so for me, it's not about that. It's really creating spaces where all is welcome. The best of you, the highest of you is welcome. It's 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 worthy. It's wanted. Like, we need your healing light. Oh, I have a phone call. Oh, sorry about that. I use my hand. We need your healing light. Um, I have not recorded in a while, so next time I'll go on airplane mode. So we need your healing light. Like, the best of you is welcome. And also the worst of you is welcome to come to the light. And, as I'm saying this, I'm remembering this beautiful process I had in August of 2021. And I got to connect to my wholeness, and it was really embracing and embodying the best of me and the worst of me. And just now, as I'm sharing that, I'm like, whoa, now, like, I get to hold space for the very best of people and the very worst. Like, it's all welcome, because there's grace and there's mercy and there's love and there's peace. So I hope this gives you an idea of the essence of the place and what we do. Your super, super, super Zen self is welcome. Your hyper joyful self is welcome. Please come as you are. And I look forward to working with you. I look forward to seeing you. I look forward to celebrating you. I look forward to witnessing your miracles. I look forward to your testimonies. And as you can see, things can shift in an instant, right? I went from a normal TSH in July to a very high TSH in October. And I found out because I did blood work. So I know that sometimes people who are into natural medicine and healing have a strong resistance to going to doctors or to doing blood work, but it's just information. It's all information. And then because I had the information, then I committed to the healing. And so things can also shift from the other way, from a 93 back to a 2.4 3 months later. And so, and this is why I do this work, to be able to see the changes in the body, and that the body can heal itself. And we are here to be embodied. We are here to living fully. We're here to have a great time. So I'm so happy to talk to you. I don't have my glasses, so I had to get closer to see how long is this video. Uh, for 42 minutes, and I guess by the time I end it, it'll be 45 minutes. This is what happened when you used to do radio. I used to talk nonstop for 30 minutes on the radio. So, looking forward to working with you. And my goal is to actually eventually also do the same thing online, having the tending to the healing garden, tending to the inner garden online, so I can work with people from all over the world. And I think I have the capacity for that now. Yeah, normal thyroid. I didn't want to push it when my thyroid was under functioning. And then also my goal is to take it on the road, so that if someone is having a retreat, then that could be a part of it. I've done that, and where I get to facilitate. So that will be my signature work, the tending to the inner garden. So I look forward to working with you, to collaborating with you, and I'll see you soon. Bye.